Hey guys, thanks for joining Learn to Play. I'm Lance, and we're at Gen Con 2016, Day 3. We're over here with Asmodee, and we're going to be taking a look at Conan. So, can you give me a little bit of description of what Conan is, for those of us that aren't familiar with it?
Conan's a four to five player kind of adventure game.
Okay.
Players are going to be cooperatively kind of taking a turn, kind of no turn order. They can just kind of sporadically take turns, figure out what actions they want to take, and then after they decide to move around the board, Overlord will take over, kind of start controlling the bad guys, trying to attack them. And
is it scenario based? Is there like story along with it and all that?
So each scenario will kind of have an objective that they're trying to complete by a certain turn order number, depending on what scenario it is. So
sure. All right, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at this. Ready?
All right, so here's your player sheet. The gems here are your resources. In the green area, you'll have ready resources that you can use on any of the actions up here for either melee combat, range combat, defending against attacks, movement, interacting, or re-rolling dice. In the red area, you'll have your fatigued resources that have been used and waiting to get back at the beginning of a player round. And then you got a wound area here. As you take damage, you have to move resource to the wound area. If you end up losing all your resources, you'll die. And at the beginning of the player round, there's two stances they can choose. They can be aggressive or passive. If you're passive, you can only defend and re-roll die, and you got to stay in your spot. If you're aggressive, you'll be able to attack, move, interact, and do everything. You'll get more resources back at the beginning of the turn if you go passive than aggressive. And as other players die, you'll get more gems back depending on which one you choose at the beginning. This is the Overlords area. It's the Book of Skelos. You'll have all the units that you'll have on the board here as options. On your turn, the Overlord can activate two groups. When you activate a group, there's a cost above each one. So you'll take a gem from this side to this side to activate this first group. You'll move all the other ones down, and then you'll place that at the back. So later, if you want to activate them again, they're going to be more expensive. You have a few actions up here to help your units on the board. When you're being attacked, you can pay in to start defending some of your guys, or you can pay to move units on the board when you're moving units, because every creature has a movement, an armor, and then kind of an attack value of what they can do. And then, do you want to talk about the turn order, I guess? Sorry.
Sure.
And then there'll be a time track up here. Each scenario usually have a number of turns that you have to face. In this particular scenario that we'll be playing, it's 8 turns. So if you get all the way to 8 and the player has not done it, they'll lose. And then if there's bigger bad guys on the board, you'll put their token on here to kind of show their health. Most other creatures only have 1 health, so you just got to get through their armor and do damage. But these guys will be a little tougher to kill. So right here, we'll have Conan move into a hut here with 3 other picked axe warriors. Moving will be like different grid base here. So he's in the room with 3 picked hunters. So if we want to attack with him, let's get some dice here out. And we'll get some. So right now he's going to be hitting for 3 damage on one of the picked hunters. So Overlord chooses to decide to try to protect it with 2 dice. And then the picked hunters only have 1 armor, so they still survive because they won't take any damage. So
then what happens when they attack back?
So if the Overlord phase comes up and he decides to activate them, then all 3 will take turns beating up on them.
Okay.
So we'll look at the board here. The pick hunters get 2 yellow dice. So 1 will attack Conan, and then the player will have to decide how many he wants to invest in to defend with. So he decides to defend with 1 dice because figure he'll be lucky. And he's lucky, so he ends up surviving that.
And so what do the symbols on the dice represent?
The axes are how much damage they do. There's 3 different colors. There's red, yellow, and orange. Red will have the most amount of axes that you can get on it. Orange is a little less, and yellow is the worst.
Okay. And what about those little hashes on the side?
There's little hashes to kind of just for colorblind people to be able to.
Okay.
They got the icons and all the different things to help them be able to see it if they can't see the colors. So.
Nice. All right, thanks, Jeremy, for taking us through this. This kind of gives you guys an idea of what Conan is about and how it plays. For those of you that kickstarted it, we're still hoping for an October release. For a retail release, we're not quite sure yet, so stay tuned for that. As far as the price, we're looking at around about $120 for a retail release. And for those of you that are familiar with the Kickstarter, you know that there's a ton of stuff coming with it later on, so there will be expansions for this. We're not sure if those will hit retail just yet. But Jeremy, thanks again for showing us, and we'll catch you guys later. Thank you.